Tonight, an honest woman breaks the law, and a reformed crook tries to get back in jail.
Yes, it's crime night tonight on
People Are Funny.
Yes, transcribed from Hollywood, John Goodell's production of People Are Funny, repeating the best shows of the past season. And now, here's radio's top master of ceremonies, Art Linkletter.
Hello there, everybody. Well, you all look happy down there in the audience, but I wonder about the contestants here on stage. None of them know what they're in for yet, but they'll find out soon enough. Roy Rowan, who's first to risk everything to prove that people are funny?
Mrs. Mary Esther Lindsay from Loma Linda, California. Meet Art Linkletter.
How do you do, Mrs. Lindsay?
Hello, Mr. Allen.
Mrs. Lindsay, what's your husband do for a living?
He's a sophomore medical student in Loma Linda.
Going to be a doctor?
Yes.
In other words, who makes the living for the family?
Well, I do now.
They grow on him as a habit. Look at him grinning down there. He knows he's got something good going for him. What do you do for a living?
I'm a secretary at the college.
Uh-huh. Now, Mrs. Lindsay, you are going to perform an interesting psychological stunt tonight as a shopper. You're going up to the Broadway Hollywood department store tonight, and it's a store noted for the courtesy of its customers. It's a great, big, wonderful store here in Hollywood, but we want to see if you can be a real bad, irascible customer and see if you can make them at least lose their tempers. First, for instance, go up and ask for some weird thing like a pair of orange gloves, bright orange gloves. Demand them. You saw them there last week. If they happen to have them, we don't know whether they do or not. Ask for 2 left-handed ones. That's what you always get.
You want me to actually ask for 2 left-handed ones?
Yes, or any other weird thing that you can think of that you might think they wouldn't have. Now, if after you've tried that for a time or two, try this tack. Approach a few of the clerks and price some standard merchandise, a compact or something. If the compact is $5, you say, I'll give you $4 for it. You got that?
Yes, uh-huh.
Or, I'd like to have 2 for $7.
Okay.
Yeah, and then test their reaction. If they won't sell you, cut right the price. Why argue with them? Say that you always chisel this way everywhere you go. How do you think you'll get along?
Oh, I think I'll succeed.
But now, Irv Atkins, will you take this lady up? And the rest is up to you. He'll take you up to the store. Where'd you leave your coat and purse? Right over there. Get it for her because she's going to need it. Put them on. Grab the purse, and away you go. Good luck to you, and report back in 20... Oh, but one more thing, Miss Lindsay. To win the prize, you must not mention that you are from People Are Funny. You remember that? Well, there she goes. Say goodbye to our audience. Now, there she goes. Where's that husband? Would you come up, sir? You didn't know you were going to be on the show tonight. He was looking so relaxed down there. Come right up, Doctor. Now, this won't hurt. You're Dr. Lindsay?
Well, trying to be.
Well, that's fine. We have a little business for you, Doctor. You may think you're going to be a doctor, but tonight you're going to play the part of a detective. Are you willing to go along with a little gag?
Very much so, very much so.
Before we say any further, you have been married 1 year.
1 year.
And your wife loves you.
She loves me very much.
Well, it was nice to have had that happy year, Mr. Lindsay. John, do you have the private detective's badge, the genuine detective badge right there? Mm-hmm. There it is. Now pin it under the lapel. Right there. Now, here's the plot. You are going to be sent up to the same store we sent your wife to, the Broadway Hollywood. And when you get there, you go up to the floor walker and flash your badge and tell him that you're a private detective hired by a wealthy Southern California family, among whom is numbered a kleptomaniac. You know what a kleptomaniac is?
Yes, sir.
What is it?
One who steals.
Yeah, but how do they steal?
Incessantly. They can't get it out of their mind. They have to get something to get their hands on.
Yeah, whether they need it or not.
Whether they need it or not.
Whether they can pay for it or not.
That's right.
They just have a mania to pick up things.
That's right.
Now, you're going to go to the floor walker and tell him, you remember, that you're working for a family and that this woman is in the store and that you've already seen her pick up some gloves and a compact and various things, and that you don't want her arrested, but you want her scared. You want her to have a good lecture, and that when he goes up and looks in her purse and finds this stuff, that he's going to give her a good lecture. Now, you understand that?
Right.
All right. Now, of course, do you have any idea who you're going to point out when he asks you who it is?
Well, my wife, of course.
This boy reacts normally. We figured that you'd jump to some sort of a horrible conclusion, and you're right. Now, actually, the joke is on both her and the floor walker, because We want to see how she reacts when she's accused of being a kleptomaniac, and we want to see how he reacts when he opens her purse and none of the stuff is in there. Now, the important thing is, this will teach her not to be mean to store clerks. You got that?
Right.
Now, hurry back when you finish your dirty work, and we'll see you and report back. There he goes. Say goodbye, audience. Well, that's kind of a dirty double cross, wouldn't you say? How many of you know the triple cross we have in mind? Yes, that's right. While I was talking to his wife up here at this microphone, one of our men was slipping into his wife's purse that was back there on that chair a pair of new gloves with a price tag on them and a new compact. Anyhow, we'll find out what happens at the end of the program. Who's next, Roy?
Mr. and Mrs. George Cannon from Fairbanks, Alaska. Art.
Oh, hello. How do you do, George? Haven't met you yet. I'm Art Linkletter. And you're Mrs.?
Cannon.
Mrs. Lee Cannon. Uh-huh. Couple of big shots, huh? Where are you from, George?
Fairbanks, Alaska.
Oh, the ice is broken up early this winter. What do you do up there?
I have the photo finishing concession at Ladd Air Force Base and photography.
Uh-huh. And Mrs. Cannon?
I work for the Ladd Air Force Base with Controller's Office.
Uh-huh. Well, now, I feel sentimental when I talk to newlyweds. I'd like to do something nice for you, Mrs. Cannon.
Thank you.
How would you like a few nice additions to your wardrobe, for instance?
I'd love that.
All right. I'm going to make it easy for you. You're just going to answer a few simple questions and a little quiz, and for every correct answer you give me, I'll add something nice to your wardrobe. How does that sound?
Well, thank you. That's wonderful.
Uh-huh. Mr. Cannon, does this sound like a good deal to you?
Sounds fine.
Well, I'm glad you agree, because the other part of the game goes this way. Every time we add to her wardrobe, we subtract from yours.
Oh,
How does that sound?
Not so good.
You may think you're back in Alaska here in a couple of minutes. Now, you remember that, Mrs. Cannon? Well, I'll show you how it works out. For instance, what's your address up there?
821 Northwood Building, Fairbanks, Alaska.
That is absolutely right. And you have just won for yourself a pair of lovely ladies' shoes.
Thank you.
Isn't that nice? Oh, by the way, Mr. Cannon, the other half of the game, would you take your shoes off, please? Oh, get a load of those socks. Let's see if a newlywed has holes in his socks.
I think they're brand new. I hope they are.
Did you buy them for him?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, pull up your pants. Let's see those socks.
Oh.
All right, now that's the first part of the game. Now, Mrs. Cannon, here's your next question. Do you know who was the second Assistant Secretary of the Navy?
I don't know.
That is correct. I asked you, do you know? You do not know. That is right. For that, you get a lovely cashmere sweater. Well, Mr. Cannon, you don't have a cashmere sweater on, but you have a coat on. We're paralleling here, so we'll take his coat off. That's fine. She's a pretty smart wife, huh?
Yes, he is.
Yeah. Now, Mrs. Cannon, for a new blouse, listen carefully. If Railroad A is 4,157 miles long, and Railroad B is 2,237 miles long, which one is wider?
Well, they're the same width.
That is right. They are the same width, and you have just won a beautiful blouse. We'd like to have your shirt, please, if you don't mind. That's it. Leave the buttons on, fellas. Let's see. Now we'll know if he has clean underwear on. This is rather interesting, isn't it, Mrs. Cannon? You're winning, you know. You're winning all the time. You're getting more and more. Look, the tattooed sailor. That's wonderful. All right. Now we come to a very important question, Mrs. Cannon. Your next prize... Your next prize is a beautiful pair of slacks. How are you today, Mr. Cannon?
Fine, Art.
What is the capital city of Illinois?
Chicago.
You know something? Chicago is not the capital of Illinois. The capital of Illinois does anybody know? Springfield. Now, Mrs. Cannon, were you deliberately, did you know that? What was going on? I don't know whether you're deliberately trying to avoid winning these new slacks or whether you're not. Well, I tell you, you've only been married 17 days. Your husband is standing here with his pants on at the moment. But he will lose them here in front of 1,000 people if you answer this question correctly. Also, you'll get a $60 dress for yourself. Now, think these two alternatives over. You got a $60 dress or a husband without pants. Who was the first president of the United States?
I don't know.
Now, folks, just a minute. We don't want to make this too hard. I'm going to give you a hint. He was connected with a hatchet and a cherry tree. You don't want to say, all right? Do you have any ideas?
Go ahead, honey. Say Washington.
You want her to get the dress. You don't care about your pants. You let hers answer the question. You don't want to say?
I don't know.
Look at the dress. Look at the dress. Very beautiful dress. Feel it. She's looking over at her husband. There's a nice feel to it. Silky. What do you think?
I don't remember.
It's up to her. It's up to her. Mrs. Cannon, this was really a test to see whether or not you would, for a prize, let your husband be this embarrassed. Now, how about reversing the game now? Would you like to have some new clothes?
Yes, I would, Art.
No, we're going to save that for television. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just kidding, and I'm not kidding about this, Mrs. Cannon, because you were a real nice, modest bride, and you did save your husband from embarrassment, even though he wanted you to have the dress, figuring he'd save himself $60. We're going to give you a surprise prize, a beautiful gas range for your home. Thanks for proving that people are funny. Goodbye, sir. Who's next, Roy?
Mr. Raymond Wiles from Temple City, California. Meet Art Linkletter.
How do you do, Mr. Wiles?
I know you, Mr. Linkletter.
Mr. Wiles, what do you do for a living?
I'm a Ford salesman.
Uh-huh. And you're a young man about 30, 28?
29.
Mm-hmm. Married, probably?
Yes, I am.
3 children.
That's right.
Didn't know how I knew, did you?
You were reading my mind.
I just guessed. Now let's jump away from the family life for a minute, Mr. Wiles. Have you ever had any dangerous experiences? For instance, you ever been held up by a robber or anything like that?
No.
Ever had your pocket picked in a crowd anyplace?
No, as a matter of fact, I haven't.
Ever had anything stolen out of your house or from your car, leaving it in a car seat? Huh?
Yes, I was taken out of my car.
Mm-hmm. The reason I ask you about this is that a lot of people have had these things happen to them. They don't know how they'd react if they actually caught the fella doing it. For instance, Ray, if you were to catch a pickpocket with his hand right in your pocket with your hand on the wallet, do you think if you grabbed him and held him that you should have him arrested? Or,
I think so, yes. Yes, certainly.
You would turn him over to the cops?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Do you think most people agree with you?
Most people.
Well, that's an interesting thing. People are funny about sympathy for somebody, even if he's a thief. People are soft-hearted when it comes to actually turning them into the police, if the police is not right there. I'll tell you what we'll do, Raymond. We're going to make a test tonight, and if most people agree with you, we're going to give you, for your family, something that a new father can certainly use. Of course, if most people don't think that a pickpocket should be turned over to the cops at the scene of the crime, we're going to fill your pockets instead of picking them. How does that sound?
Well, what are you going to put in them?
Well, that is kind of an interesting thought, isn't it? I'll show you. I'm not keeping anything back. Fellows, would you bring out the funnel? And the pitcher of ice water. Now we'll take his coat off. And would you put the funnel in this front coat pocket right there? There, that's fine. Now, would you take the pitcher of water and just hold it right up above, get it ready? Because if our test proves wrong, we're going to fill your pockets with the ice water, and, of course, that won't matter if they don't leak. Now, folks, here's how we're going to run our test, and I think this should be very interesting. We are going to discover what the average person thinks about arresting a pickpocket. Out in the patio, there's a line of visitors waiting to get in to see another one of our radio shows here. We have hidden microphones up and down the shrubbery along the side, and in that line are two actors who've been out there now for some little time. They just look like ordinary fellows. One's a big guy and the other's a little guy. Little fellow will play the part of the thief. Now, the thief is going to lift the wallet from the big guy's back pocket and get caught at it right there. Then you'll hear how we're going to settle this bet. All right, engineer, Harry, switch on the microphones and let's hear the fake robbery.
I'm wondering, you from Cincinnati?
No, I'm from Kansas City.
Well, Cincinnati's my hometown. There was a guy I went to school with. I looked a lot like you. And
Well, maybe
I thought while I was talking to you, I'd ask you. You know, you never can tell.
Hey, what's going on? Come here. What are you doing? Touch it.
This guy in my pocket. What's going on here?
I never done
What do you think you are? Wait a minute here.
What you got, your
It's
wallet?
all there. I didn't
Yeah,
take
the guy
anything.
took my wallet. What? Usher, get a policeman.
Think I better get a policeman?
Please don't call a cop. I got
guy do
No,
it.
no,
Yeah.
You're sorry, listen.
Yeah.
I got a family at home, and I've got so done many debts. I don't know. I've never taken
Well, if
anything
you're broke, why
before.
don't you ask a guy for some money
You
instead
ever
of trying
tried
to
to
rob
ask a
him?
guy for some money?
Hey, look, I don't
Look,
think this is right.
please.
We ought to. You haven't lost your wallet.
You saw him. You said you...
ought to go to jail. I saw him pick your pocket. Sure.
Well, gee whiz, the man took my money.
All right, so you caught him. Leave him go now. We won't do it again.
Well,
Well, it's up to you, whatever you say.
Well, how about the rest of these people? What do they think?
I think you should let him go.
How about you, sailor? Take him in.
I don't think so.
the sailor said...
What do you think?
Sure, he said they had that's why.
Huh?
He has no money.
No, he didn't get it. I grabbed him. I felt him in my pocket. What the heck?
So we did pay
You
no
almost go
man
crazy
stealing.
sometimes.
What? You any good to send him in?
Well, I know, but he took my wallet. I had my railroad tickets on my...
You said he didn't take
Well, supposing I hadn't felt him, what would have happened then? I'd have been out of luck.
I think you'd be very unfair.
Well,
Because he hadn't done it.
I don't want to be inhuman.
But he didn't
I don't want to be inhuman, but
Lady, you're getting $1.
I
Let him
that
go?
I can afford to do it.
now look, get out of here. I don't want to see you anymore.
Let's go inside here and talk things over, huh?
All right, thanks a lot, folks. Don't be alarmed. It's a people are funny stuff. We want to see how you'd react to it.
Well, that was it. Did you notice, folks? They let him go. They let him go. In other words, this may come as a surprise to you. People are funny. This was not a fixed stunt. They wanted to let the pickpocket go and not call a policeman. So, Mr. Wiles, you see, your guess about public opinion is wrong. You lose the bet. Is the funnel ready, Mr. Goodell? Mr. Wiles, this is an old fraternity trick that we thought we'd revive. It's the kind of an interesting experience for a grown man, and you didn't win. But since you're so wet, we're going to give you something you'll need, and you can certainly use around your house, and that's a beautiful, big, new automatic home dryer that gives clothes sunshine freshness and enables you to throw away your clothesline. And thanks for People Are Funny. So long, Mr. Wiles. At the beginning of the program, we sent a married woman up to the Broadway Hollywood department store in one of the dirtiest triple crosses we've played on this program in some little time. Now, we told her that her job was to try the patience and the courtesy of the clerks by being an irritable customer. And then after she went, we sent, unknown to her, her husband up there, playing the part of a detective, to tell the floor walker that his wife was a kleptomaniac and to search her purse. Now, of course, he thought it was a joke on his wife and the floor walker, but what neither of them knew was that we had previously hidden in her purse a pair of gloves and a compact with the store tags still on them. Well, let's find out what went on up there, because that's something over which we have no control. The lady's been kept off stage, and she's just walking in now. Her name is Mrs. Lindsay, a very pretty little brunette. Mrs. Lindsay, how do you do? Did you make the store clerks mad up there?
I guess I did. She started crying.
She started crying?
She tried to hand me over to another clerk, and the other clerk just stood there and looked at me with her mouth open.
What, you mean you were so irascible?
I said, I want a pair of the largest size you have in orange and black stripes. And she said, orange and black stripes. And she said, well, I guess we had them at one time. She said, but we don't have them now. And I said, well, if you had them at one time, why don't you have them now? While I was arguing with her, and the other girl just stood there looking at me, some guy walked up to me, and he tapped me on the shoulder and said, I've talked to you. And I said, what for? And he said, well, come over here. I said, well, what do you want me for? And he said, well, come over here and I'll talk to you where there won't be any noise and so on. And so I went over there and he said, do you have anything in your purse that doesn't belong to you? And I said, in my purse? I said, well, no. And I said, I'll open it and show you. And he said, do you want me to? And he said, sure. And so I opened my purse and I looked, and there was a compact, a gold compact I'd never seen in my life.
Oh, now, wait a minute, Miss Lindsay. We didn't ask you to do that. We just asked you to be mean. What did you say to him then?
And he said, well, someone saw you take these. And I said, well, where is this person? He said, well, they're gone now. And I said, well, usually if a person accuses somebody, they should hang around to make it positive. And he said, well, they've gone. And I said, well, that's poor business. And he said, well, do you have the sales slip? And I said, no. And he took my name and my address and my parents and everything. And I said, I have personal references. And he said, well, that's not necessary. He said...
you gave him all those addresses and things?
Yes, not my phone number.
Well, did he see him? Was he was a floor walker?
No, I think he was a detective, the store detective. He was very polite, and the girl was very polite in the store. And
but the floor walker insisted, of course, that you.
Oh, yes. And
well, do you think somebody put this in your purse?
He said, well, someone saw you pick it up, and he says the compact is from the middle of the store. And I said, well, I didn't stop anywhere when I came in. The first department I came to was the glove department. And I said, and then I had to stand around and wait.
Well, what do you think did happen, for goodness sakes?
Well, the only thing I can think of is that I laid my purse on the counter, and when I moved away, someone just put them in. I don't know what the object would be, unless they thought they'd knock me down afterwards and get them out of my purse after I walked out.
How would you like to get your hands on a guy who'd do a thing like that?
I'd probably use a little jiu-jitsu.
Well, I'd like to have you turn around and see the guy who did it. Your husband. He's the guy who did it. Are you a little surprised?
Oh, yes.
She didn't see you up there.
No, she didn't see me.
You stayed behind one of the pillars.
I stayed behind.
Huh?
You mean he was at the store?
Yeah, he was up there. He's the guy who blabbed on you to the store detective. You see, what we wanted to find out was whether or not you, in that kind of, you know, when we put that stuff in your purse, while you were talking to me here at the start of the show, you left your purse on the chair.
Well, I couldn't understand. I told the girl, I said, I'll give the purse to my husband. He can hold it. He said, oh, no, it'll be all right up here. I kept trying to get his eyes to watch the purse.
That's a fine thing. She's suspicious of us all the time. We have for you something, Mrs. Lindsay, that you won't be able to squeeze into your purse for your home. It's a great big 12-cubic-foot home freezer. The freezer guaranteed to outperform all others, and thanks from People Are Funny.
Thank you so much.
Goodbye, Miss Lindsay. Good night.
This is the United States Armed Forces Radio and Television Service.